To call the City Council meeting to order. Pastor During, would you please come forward and offer us a prayer before our meeting?
Let's pray together. Father, we thank you for your love for us, the opportunity that this council has tonight to address the business of this community. Father, it's a privilege and a service, Father. So we pray for wisdom. We pray for understanding. Father, I pray that you'd be with every single person that's in this room tonight, that you would, Father, work through their heart and in their lives. And I pray also for protection for those that serve us on a daily basis, those in uniform, Father, who continue to give of themselves for us. And Father, we thank you for the city of Portage, the opportunity we have to invest ourselves in the place where we live. It's in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. Nina, would you please call the roll? Oh, we have to do a pledge of allegiance first. The flag's in the right spot. Gina, would you start us off?
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You'll have to bear with us tonight. We're having some technical difficulties, so just bear with us. Nina, would you please do the roll call?
Councilperson Alvarez?
Here.
Councilperson Fedorski?
Here.
Councilperson Geishurst?
Here.
Councilperson Clem? Councilperson Williams? Councilperson Gully?
Here.
Councilperson Zilli?
Here.
We have the approval of the minutes from September 7th.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Collins, seconded by Ferdinand. Are there any changes, discussions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have communications, correspondence, and announcements from the mayor. I do not have any at this time. Clerk Treasurer's report.
The notice of taxpayers was submitted onto Gateway. There's a resolution for an additional temp loan further down on the agenda. I have some things to address with the budget committee, but that can wait till the budget committee meets. That's all I have today.
Thank you. We have reports from standing committees. Do you have anything from budget?
Obviously, we've got our notice of taxpayers. You and I have a meeting on Friday. Nina, hope you'll be able to join us, and then we need to shore up a few things. And then we're going to get together with the committee and probably set up some time with the department heads with any questions we have. And by the 19th, hopefully, we will have a completed budget.
Brian, did you want to discuss the redistricting committee? I know you met once.
Yeah, we met once and started to look over the data that came in. I think after a lot of discussion, we're going to wait and see if the county does anything with precincts. If nothing else changes, we're probably looking at just keeping the map as is. We grew on the east side and shrank a little bit on the west side, but not enough to warrant changing anything.
When does that have to be in?
We have longer because we don't have to have our map finished until our election in 23.
Okay.
So the legislature's moving faster because they have an election in a few months. But we have a little bit longer.
Anything else, any other standing committee? If not, we have none.
Mayor, I think.
Mayor, sorry. So as far as ordinances is concerned, obviously, for those that don't know, Councilman Williams had a death in his family, so we extend our prayers in his loss. Councilman Clem could not attend, so there was no ordinance meeting tonight, but obviously we have several things on the agenda, so come next month, we'll get right back to that.
Thank you.
I had a question regarding the budget committee or just the budget process, about how far along are we in this process? Because I see other municipalities have already, started to adopt their budgets for next year. I was just wondering about that.
So all the department heads have pretty much put in their budgets. We have some things with the mayor, with the salary ordinance. Nina needs to fill in some blanks. And then we just need to sit down together as a committee, and if anybody has any other questions of the department heads, then we should be ready to go.
And the statuted deadline is November 19th?
November 1st.
November 1st. Thank you.
I believe we have a meeting October the 19th.
Right.
Is that true, Nina?
Yes.
Council meeting will be here.
Council meeting on the 19th.
Right.
We have a meeting.
Fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we have no unfinished business. We have reports from city officials. Superintendent Wilkie from the parks.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a few things from Parks. Our annual Haunted Hayride is coming up in 2 weeks. We have hosted this event for over 40 years. We hope you can all come out and enjoy it. It's only $3 per ride. We are still looking for people to create and man scary scenes for the weekend. You can earn up to $350 for your organization by participating. If you're interested, you can call the park office for more information. Our annual Christmas craft show will take place the first weekend in December. Unfortunately, we're already talking about Christmas events. We do have a few booth spaces available. Entry is free, but we do ask that you bring an item for the food pantry to donate. Our annual Daddy-Daughter Dance will take place in February. We will open registration for that on December 1st. Our outdoor restrooms will all be winterized and closed by November 1st, and they will remain closed for the season until May. And lastly, Amy and I will be attending the Indiana Parks and Rec Conference in Muncie next month, so I will not be at the next meeting because we will be in Muncie for that, but I will email an update beforehand. And that's all I have tonight. Any questions?
Thank you, Lori.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
Barb Lesko from the Marina.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening,
Evening,
Barb.
Barb.
I can go over the waterway spill if anybody would like for me to make some comments on that. As everybody knows, we had a serious water spill Sunday, September 26th. I went out to the lakefront. I met the mayor there and councilperson Sisley, and we kind of watched the situation unfold in front of our very eyes. One of my marina employees did go out in the marina boat, and we pulled our own samples because we weren't getting any response from U.S. Steel or basically anybody. So we took our samples, and I kept them under ice. And I did take them to our sanitary department for Don Slonikowski to send them out for analyzation. The one result that came back was, as we all know, it was high iron contact. But the one that I was kind of concerned about was the hexavalent chromium, to see if any of that had maybe intermixed in with the sample. And that sample came back ND, which was non-detectable, but it was under a qualifier of H3, which means that the sample received and analyzed was past the holding time. So we didn't get an accurate reading on that. And I'm just kind of concerned because of so many spills that we've had in this area that we need to stay on top of these things. So that's about it for that one. The Norfolk Southern Railroad Bridge project is currently underway to some degree. That's the railroad bridge that goes across Burns Waterway for the Norfolk Southern Railroad. AJ, his department has been in contact with them also, as have I, because of the Port Authority jurisdiction that we have over the waterway. They're scheduled to begin this project October 12th. They're going to be priming the bridge, and that project is scheduled to take about 3 weeks. And then after that, they're going to do some major repair work. The repair work and the steel piling is going to take quite a while. They did a survey for the waterway depth, and the depth is going to be at 17 feet. That'll be from the top of the waterway to the underneath part of the bridge, which is plenty of clearance since it usually runs between 17 and 20 feet. So we're good on that. Let's see, I contacted all the local marinas so that they're aware of this because this may affect their hauling out season. And that would be Doynes, Isaac Walton, Marquette, Millers, South Shore, and Marina Shore, so everybody's aware of this. The long-term forecast for this project is for painting and intermediate final coating to be repeated the summer of '22, so it's going to be a pretty long-range project, and I just hope that they can wrap it up before our boating season starts. We do have a contact for this project. The project manager, his name is Matt Eichen. He is with the ICC group out of Chicago, and I have a phone number if anybody would like that, to give him a call to stay on top of it, but you can basically trust me to forward any information that I get that would affect anything. As far as the marina goes, our official end of season is October 31st, give or take a few days because of the nice weather we've been having. We've still got pretty much 3/4 of a marina full of boats. So our winterizing process will start pretty soon in November, I would imagine. That takes about a week to blow all the water pipes out. For this next year, the 2022 season, there will be no slip increases or launch rate increases, and we will again offer season passes to disabled veterans at no charge. And then the last thing I've got is our office hours. Sometime in October, November, will change from 7 days a week to 5 days a week. 9 to 4, weather permitting. It's kind of been that way. We've had some snow, and some days I can't get down there when the snow is really deep and blowing. And other than that, I don't have any paper left, so I guess I'm out. Any questions for me?
Barb, I just want to thank you and your staff for the quick response to the spill from U.S. Steel. I know you said you were out there with the mayor and I.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Appreciate the quick response on a Sunday.
You're very welcome. I was just happy to see you guys out there, too.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Barb.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you do at the marina. Chief Candiana.
And I'm going to pop this down a little bit because I was told last time nobody could hear me, so bear with me here. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. Well, how are you, Chief?
All right. Yourself? I'm doing good. All right, I'll start off with our numbers for the month. So the month of September, our total incidents were 3,132. That comes out to an average of about 104 incidents per day. So year to date, we're at 27,323. So as compared to last September, we were at 2,728. So again, 3,132 for this year, 2,728 last September. And then year to date, we're at 2,976 additional incidents. So definitely busier, but it's kind of been the theme every month. I recently had a meeting with the superintendent of the state police. They're requesting assistance with responding to calls on I-94. They cited a lack of staffing and issues that they've got. So I'm going to tell you, we're probably not really in a position to help them, but obviously we're going to respond to emergencies if needed as much as we can. But it's definitely a concern for as we're entering the winter months with the amount of calls that we're already having, and now we're being asked to assist elsewhere. So as far as staffing, we currently have 1 officer on light duty, 1 officer on major illness, 2 officers at the police academy, and 2 officers needing to be hired, and an additional officer on military assignment. So it sounds like a lot, but it's a lot better than it was over the summer. It's actually getting a little better. So hiring, as I talked to you guys last time, we were just starting the hiring process. Unfortunately, we had 23 applications that were returned, 13 that came to the testing, and at this point in the process, we're down to 4. We need to hire 2, so we'll see what happens. Obviously, the odds are coming down a little bit there, but so we need to hire 2. We've got 4 left in the running. So this brings me to my next concern. As of today, we have 12 officers leaving in the next 2 years, which is going to cause some major staffing issues for us. I've stated before, it takes about 9 months or so to get a rookie officer trained and released for, for solo patrol to where they're actually out there by themselves. Additionally, with the numbers we have for this current hiring process, I'm really concerned about what's going to occur in the next couple of years. I know I had a little preliminary conversation with Councilwoman Podgorski about this, so I just wanted to keep you all in the loop. We definitely need to start looking at this because I have major concerns of when we're losing that many people all at one time, the effect it's going to have on the department. And the last thing we want to do is start taking subpar candidates just to fill spots. So we really need to, I know it's a couple years down the road, but probably need to start having that conversation soon. So I just wanted to keep you all in the loop with that. For this month, we did 422 hours of training. Lexapol, we had some conversations about that, and I believe it was approved by y'all and the Board of Works recently. So this is going to start our process of reworking our rules and regs. Very excited about this, something that's way overdue. It's going to be extremely beneficial to the city and to all the officers. So that's something that we're going to start looking at, or getting that going. Last couple things here. So outreach for this month, we had officers walked Camelot Manor and Camelot Estates with members of the Substance Abuse Council. They handed out informational resources, packets and things to help those struggling with addiction. The response was very positive. A lot of people took them, said that they either knew somebody or had their own concerns, so it was nice to be able to get out there and do that in the community. Detective Huberger spent the day at Portage High School, spoke with students about crime scene investigation, detective work. So we had an officer that was into the schools in addition to the SRO. It's always nice to be able to get out there and make that contact with the kids. We also had some other various events, community events, car shows, cookouts, etc. And we've got a couple more planned in October. We'll try to squeeze in as many of these outdoor things as we can before the weather turns. We've got a couple things at some local churches and another event with Portage Township Schools. All right, last two things. Grants, we're still in the process of trying to get some money from the Porter County Substance Abuse Council. I talked about it last month. This would be, money would be applied specifically for fighting substance abuse problems. And then I received information recently that the state's going to come out with some money for body cams. I know there's been questions about that from you all. Apparently that information is going to drop later this month. I did confirm that it's only going to be good for the equipment though, and not the storage cost, which is the bigger concern over all that, but we will get that information when it comes. And then lastly, as I always do, I want to recognize a couple people, actually a whole group today, and it just so happens that this crew is working. Lieutenant Haynes' crew. So I'm sure all you guys are aware, a couple weeks ago at the homecoming game, our officers responded to a report of a man with a gun or possibly shots fired. As you can imagine, it quickly became a very chaotic scene. Large portion of the packed crowd began stampeding for the gates. I mean, there were a lot of people there, and there were a lot of people that were concerned about what happened. So with our patrol crew, the officers that were working the game already, and our reserve officers, they got it under control. I think they did a great job. I came out, a couple of the admin came out, and by the time we got there, they already had it under control. So. Just want to recognize them. It was, luckily it wasn't what we thought it was, but it was still a huge chaotic scene that they ran into not knowing what they had, and they did a good job. Just so happens they're working afternoons, but I think they just ran off.
Yeah,
so,
they did.
Well, there you go. It shows, how busy we are. I couldn't even get them to stay for the whole meeting, so. But anyway, congrats to them. They did a good job, so. Questions? Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you. Fire Chief Wilkening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to start off by pointing out, as you notice, we're all in pink. I see Councilman Gully's got his shirt on too.
Yeah.
It's our policy. What we like to do is for the whole month of October, we all dress in pink for breast cancer awareness. So we get a lot of positive feedback by that. Real men wear pink. So, and then we have the
our female firefighters too. So real females wear pink also. So our call volume for the month, we had 498 total calls. 384 of them were for EMS. We had 6 fire calls. So we've been down a little bit for fire calls, which is good. It's better for the people. Last year at this time we had 424 calls. So that brings us to total calls of 4,502 calls. So we're definitely on pace to go over 6,000 calls for the year, which is 1,000 more than what we had last year. And we had 1,000 more than the year before, so we're really stacking up the calls. We also had, it was 756 calls already from last year, so that's where we're at now. We had 32 mutual aid calls, and they were all for ambulance, so we had to have a mutual aid ambulance come in the city 32 times. So I know it's a broken record, same as with Chief Candiano, but you know we need to get more people and get that 3rd ambulance in service. We did have one retirement last month. It was Captain Rob Podorchak. He retired with 30 years of service. He's going to be missed, but with that retirement, that created some promotions. We did promote Lieutenant Teresa Yanovitz to captain, and then firefighter Chris Crail was promoted to lieutenant. So I think Lieutenant Crail is here somewhere. There he is. So congratulations, Lieutenant. Okay, that brings us, that makes us 3 people short now. So we are in the process of hiring people. We have Chandler Zapinski. He is going to be starting on Monday. And then the other 2 we're sending down this week for physicals, and hopefully they will be processed by the end of the month. This past month, we always start since we have so many schools, we always start fire prevention in September, even though fire prevention is beginning in October. So Division Chief Kender has been working hard with that along with the crews. So the crews have been going in all the schools, teaching all the kids about fire prevention. Unfortunately, with the COVID, we used to always have lunch with the kids. We felt it wasn't a very good time to intermingle, so we had to suspend that program again this year. But hopefully next year we can get back in with the kids because they really love it. We sit down at the tables with them, eat lunch, and they don't eat their lunch because they're busy asking questions. The COVID-19 efforts, I want to give a big kudos to Chief Kodacek. He's our EMS chief. He's been super busy. He's been working with the county health department along with Assistant Chief Arnold from Belleville Fire Department, and they've been running around giving shots and boosters to all the shut-ins. So they have helped out the county health department a lot. We appreciate all that hard work. He's also helped set up, the county health department is going to be coming into the city for us to give booster shots, Pfizer booster shots and flu shots for firefighters and police officers in the next couple of weeks. So we are in the process of scheduling that. He's also worked hard to get us, we do have COVID testing kits for the public safety, so that way we can test our own people right away and get that done and over with, so we don't have to sit there and wait and send them somewhere else. We can test right away to help prevent any more lost time. Unfortunately, it looks like our Assistance to Firefighters Federal Grant, looks like they've given out all the money. We have not got an official rejection letter yet, but it doesn't look promising, so we are starting to work on next year's round of grants. So we will try to be doing that. A couple of kudos to our people. We've had some pretty bad traumas. We had a pedestrian hit one night over the weekend. Last week we did have a car versus train, the South Shore train. Our people did a great job. The train was on County Line Road, so we worked with Gary Fire and Police too. So it was a good group effort, and everybody did a really good job. And we had
all kinds of help we had helicopters come in and have to fly people out, but again, they did a fantastic job. I did send a letter to you, and at the end of it, I kind of included a little bit of a lengthy process about the COVID policy that we've been kind of harping on. I know it sounds like we're kind of over enthusiastic about trying to get this done, but I just wanted to let you guys know where we're coming from, because I kind of look at it myself, where last year at this time I was on a rig. This was before I was chief. So between us and the police department, we're going into these houses with people that are either suspected of having COVID, or we walk in there and they say, yes, I've tested positive for COVID. And I think our people perform admirably. Same with the police department. And it's kind of hard to try to get you guys to understand that you know the person has COVID, you know they have a very contagious disease, and you're in there, you're holding them, you're taking their blood pressure, you're doing everything, and just knowing that they have it and trying to keep yourself safe. So that is our biggest reason is why we're pushing for this policy, and because we want our people to stay safe, we want our people to know that if bad things do happen to us, that we are going to be protected, and we know the city's behind us, and we just want to make sure that people can still take care of their families and everything. And that's our biggest reason. I know, again, we can be a pain in the butt, but I just want everybody, the council, to know. Today I had a great meeting with the mayor and Councilman Zilli and Attorney Whitten, and we had some really good conversation, and we hope that we can get an agreement and things in place to keep the city safe. So,
Dan, could you just talk about next steps on that and where we're headed so the council knows?
So, so we've had quite a bit of discussion about this, discussed with some of the department heads. I pulled a couple of COVID policies from surrounding communities in the county. I put together a draft of COVID policy, which I've sent out to a couple of council members I've been talking with. I know you guys have been discussing with other council members some of the tweaking. I believe that the intention is that later on this month we're going to have a special meeting and we'll be acting upon that COVID policy. I think the thing is that we have these discussions, we come up with the policy, or at least a draft of it, and then in speaking with department heads, namely yourself and Chief Candiano, some of these, well, what about this? Well, gosh, maybe we should tweak this a little bit to address that concern. So we kind of wanted to get it right to address some of your concerns and your officers' concerns, as well as Chief Candiano, to make sure that at least we, address some of your major questions and concerns.
And we appreciate the conversation. That's what we want, is so that way we can just get it hashed out, because I know my administration has spent quite a bit of time with all these COVID policies, and going with the health department, and Chief Kodachek is usually on the phone with the health department like every day or every other day. So we kind of have an idea of what's going on, and we just want to make sure before everything hits.
Yeah, and chatting with some of the other municipal attorneys around the area, I've had the opportunity to sort of ask some of the stumbling blocks that they may have encountered in their community and trying to hash out a COVID policy. So trying to learn from that so that we don't have some of the same issues, and getting ahead of those kind of concerns. And speaking with various council members, I believe the anticipation is that later this month we'll have something, or they'll have something passed that deals with this.
So we definitely appreciate it. So any other questions?
Thank you for your patience,
All right.
Randy.
Thanks.
Thanks, Randy.
Superintendent Reader.
No show and tell.
No props today. So just a fast report. I'm going to hit some of the highlights that I sent you earlier. For the street department, we're still working our snowplow equipment, getting that ready for the winter season. All of our leaf removal equipment is ready to go. Recently, we just got awarded, Morton Salt. I sent you a brief history of what the city has paid per ton for salt, and for the 21-22 winter season, we're going to be paying $73.81 a ton, and that was awarded to Morton. We continue to work on the following. We've done approximately about 7 miles of crack sealing throughout the city, and we want to get at least 10 miles done this year. So depending on weather, we could accomplish that if it stays well here. We continue to service leaves throughout the city and some minor mowing projects. For sanitation, some good news there. The Cng Volkswagen Grant was a long process, but that was finally awarded to the city of Portage in the amount of $549,689. So the city's going to be moving forward with some other grant money that we're seeking to add to the equipment and some of the infrastructure for the Cng. And we continue to monitor our city's recycling stream. And so far, this past September, we've confiscated 40. So if you go back to those months, August was 179, July was 160, June was 91. So we've confiscated about 470 recycling toters out of our system due to serious infractions for the policy. So, but the department continues to aggressively audit those recycling routes, and our goal is to ensure compliance for the industry standards set for us. So I've reached out to Republic Services to set up a meeting to evaluate a random recycling load so they could inspect to see if we're back in compliance. I will update the mayor once those results are known. So, any questions?
Randy, of the 470 recycled toters, were any of those given back? Or they're just
I would say a good probably 10 to 12 have requested those back, and they have paid that reinstatement fee. So, to do so.
How many of the other totes are landlords, and how do the tenants get them back?
That's a good question, and I don't have an answer for that, but it's pretty much throughout the city. We're not the only municipality that is experiencing this. There's other municipalities. I'm not going to mention them by name, but I'm in communication with them to see what they're doing to handle their issue, how they're dealing with their situation. So, but if someone could come up with a better plan, there's no other way of looking into a toter without pulling up to it and inspecting it physically. And it is a laborious, intensive process, but it's the only way we can get this back on track. So this is our 3rd month that Republic Services has us in suspension for a recycling program. So, but we're going to get it back on track. And I can assure you that a good 80% of the Portage residents do a great job recycling. They really do. So.
Thanks for your positivity on that, Randy. I know you want to get back there, so
All right.
hoping that everybody read their literature and gets the message.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
AJ? I'm not making you last on purpose. I always know you have a pretty gangbuster report for us, so.
It's all good. Good evening. It's great to see everyone. I believe you all are in receipt of the department's report for the month of September. Again, won't belabor by reviewing the entire document. However, I would like to highlight a couple things. We are continuing work on the 2021 paving program. We are now in the Bel Air neighborhood in the area on the southeast side or southwest side by Myers Elementary School. Work is ongoing, and we will be starting the milling operation next week. City Hall project, if you haven't had a chance to come by City Hall, continues to move at an on-schedule pace, which is a wonderful thing to report considering some of the stories we've heard about supply issues. We will be placing the order for the elevator later this week. We've moved ahead on some finishes selections in the building. So some of those longer lead time items we finalized, and we'll be moving forward on that project at City Hall. If you've been at City Hall and you look across the street, the old water reclamation building has been demolished. GE Marshall did a really good job on that demo, and there's more to come with trying to sell that property. We'll be working, Redevelopment Commission will be working closely with the Sanitary Board to talk about next steps and how to move that property forward, as well as the former Coach USA or Tri-State parking lot to the west. Again, a lot of trail projects that we continue to work on. The Founders Square and Plaza project, you'll notice that the fence has been erected, and our understanding is work will then soon follow. Again, we're working to update our PACER, our Pavement Surface Evaluation Rating report for 2021. That update will then be informing us as to the list of projects that we put forward for a Community Crossings Matching Grant in 2022. And it's our hope that we can continue to work with you and all of us to sort through all we can do to update and improve our streets throughout the city. Superintendent Reeder mentioned earlier about crack sealing. That is a very important operation, and while it may not be the most attractive, it is a very important part of keeping that infrastructure and a pretty significant investment in good condition. In the report, talk a little bit about what's going on at the Traffic Commission. I believe that the Plan Commission has 3 items before you this evening, recommendations regarding 3 changes of zoning. So I'm sure I might be back up here a little later on in the presentation, and you see what we're doing at the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Redevelopment Commission. A lot is going on. A lot of conversations and working with all of you to talk about what's ahead for the Redevelopment Commission in 2022 and beyond. And so we're just continue to be hard at work in the department. Do you have any questions? Yes,
AJ, I have something, because I get asked about it all the time, the ribbon curbing that you're putting down, and I think a lot of people wonder why we have a curb and then sometimes we have a flat piece of concrete there. So would you kind of explain to the council what that is and why we're doing it that way?
Yeah, and I'll try to be as brief on this, and if you want a full tutorial on pavement section design, let's do that later. The why a gutter is typically not installed is because we're not able to deal with drainage in an area. The answer then is to place a ribbon curb, a concrete curb adjacent to the pavement. And the idea, the science behind that is to create a rigid edge to the pavement so that you're not seeing the asphalt slough off at the edge of the asphalt as it gets to the shoulder. That is why we do it. And you'll notice in some places we will install curb and gutter. Because it is, we are trying to solve a drainage problem in that area. But in most cases, like McCool and Hamstrom, why you see that application there is because those areas do not have stormwater infrastructure. However, we're really we're establishing that ribbon curb to protect the edge of the pavement and to create that better, stronger edge. There's a lot of science that goes to that says that this is the best way to approach road reconstruction, and we think it's a good practice, and in the long run will provide for a better road section in the city.
Thank you. Any other questions for AJ?
Thank you. I might see you all later this evening.
You're doing a great job, AJ.
Thank you.
It's a big job. We know that. We appreciate you. Okay, did I miss anybody? I don't think so, but I'd just like to check. Before we go any farther, under new business, our Senator Karen Talion is here tonight, and Karen, we'd like you to stand up. and thank you for 16 years of service in the Senate. But she recently informed us that she would be leaving the Senate on November 1st, and we have had such a strong advocate for 16 years. We will dearly miss you, and we're sorry to see you go. So thank you for everything that you have done for us and standing there and fighting the forces down there in Indianapolis. So thank you very much, and give Karen a round of applause again. Okay, under new business, we have Resolution 21-19, Colin?
Sure. Debbie, can you read that, please?
Yep. Resolution number 21-19, a resolution authorizing temporary interfund loans. Whereas the following temporary interfund loans are necessary for the purpose of maintaining cash operating balances in the funds herein named. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana, that the Clerk Treasurer is hereby authorized to make the following temporary loans. Such loans to be secured by a pledge of revenues to be received which are not otherwise allocated and to be repaid on or before December 31st, 2021. From the Cumulative Capital Development to MVH, $350,000. Passed and adopted by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Porter County, Indiana, this 5th day of October, 2021.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Is there any discussion?
Yes, could you just kind of explain this a little bit? Now, we did took a similar loan at our last meeting, and I know they're not, related, but could you explain this just so the public can be aware?
It's basically the same thing as last time, just being able to keep that fund alive. And then I'll be back in November too.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I can't go. First reading ordinance 21-17.
Yes, can get my list. Gina, can you please take that?
An ordinance of the City of Portage, amending Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code, entitled Zoning Map. Be it and hereby as ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana, as follows. Section 1. This ordinance shall amend Chapter 19, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code, and according to the zoning map in the following manner. The zoning shall be changed from R2, low density residential, to C1, small to medium scale commercial. On the south 73 feet of the property commonly known as 6641 US Highway 20, Melton Road, 73 feet by 164 feet, and which is shown in the zoning map Exhibit A and the GLE drawing Exhibit B attached. Section 2, conflicting ordinances. An ordinance or provision of any ordinance of the City of Portage in conflict with the provision of this ordinance is hereby repealed. Section 3, severability. The invalidity, I'm terrible on that, sorry guys, of any section, clause, sentence, or provision of the ordinance shall not affect the validity of other part of this ordinance, which can be given effect without such invalid part or parts. Section 4, effective date. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and adoption by the Common Council and the approval of Mayor of the City of Portage.
Motion to suspend?
You cannot suspend on a reason.
Oh, you can't? Okay, so it's just first reading?
Just first reading.
I knew that.
I know.
I was testing you, Dan.
I know, I passed.
So there's nothing else.
Now, can we take action on this at our special meeting, though?
You can.
Okay.
So we have ordinance 21-18, DSP Crossroads Plan Development.
Gina, can you also take that one, please?
An ordinance of the City of Portage, Indiana, amending Chapter 90, Article 7 of the City of Portage Municipal Code, entitled Zoning Districts and Map. creating a planned development overlay for the below described property pursuant to Article 9. Be it and hereby ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage as follows. Section 1, this ordinance shall amend Chapter 90, Article 7 to create and designate the following described property a planned development overlay, DSP Crossroads, pursuant to Article 9 and preliminary development which is followed. Description of real estate to be rezoned, commonly known as west of 5959 Coca-Cola Avenue, approximately 37.16 acres. Legal description is attached. Section 2, contingencies are none. Section 3, conflicting ordinances. Any ordinance or provision of any ordinance in the City of Portage in conflict with provision of this ordinance is hereby repealed. Section 4, severability. The invalid of any section, clause, sentence, or provision of this ordinance shall not affect the validity of any other parts of this ordinance which can be given effect without such invalid part or parts. In Section 5, the effective date, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and adoption by the Common Council and approval by the Mayor of the City of Portage, Indiana.
Do we have somebody that comes forward and speak?
I mean, they can, but they're going to have to come to the next meeting anyway, so.
Yeah, but I can. Are there any of the developers who would like to speak on this rezone?
Come on up.
Come on up, Karen.
I'm sorry, Karen Talion for Jim McCamey Trust, which is the property at 6641 Melton. Are you taking testimony or?
I think they already approved that, or they already had first reading.
Okay, so I'm a little confused about the procedure that we're doing tonight.
So this is first reading of the ordinance.
This is first reading only.
So the second reading will be at the next meeting. As you know, the public hearing was handled by the commission. So, so for tonight's festivities, it's just the first reading, and then we'll get to the big show for the second reading at the next meeting.
And the next meeting being the special meeting?
It certainly can be.
It can be, or it'll be our November meeting.
Okay then. All right.
But we were just offering you the opportunity to speak on the development. Were you coming up for DSP as well?
No,
or just
no,
McCamey's?
no, just the McCamey property. Okay, I'll sit down.
Thanks, Karen. Todd, would you like to speak on DSP?
Good evening. My name is Todd Leaf. I'm here on behalf of the petitioner. I certainly don't need the opportunity to chat. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have at this point.
But you understand Todd will be hearing this again either on the 19th or
I understand this is first reading, and I'm waiting for the festivities to continue at second reading and the date for that. So let me know.
I do have a question. So Coca-Cola Drive doesn't currently run on this property, right? It ends and the road would be extended?
That is correct. The site plan does extend it all the way through, however. So with the approval, that's part of the contingencies, or that's part of the development plan.
And this would go all the way to Marine Drive, so it'd be a continuous loop?
It would not go all the way. Our property doesn't go that far.
Got it. I see. Okay, I see the exit.
Yeah, it's right there.
And there's actually not a way to get there because there's a billboard right there. So we would run right through the billboard, unfortunately. So, but our property ends right there.
Does anybody have any questions for Todd? The next round we will.
Perfect, I'm sure. Thank you so much.
Todd.
Thank you.
We have ordinance 21-19, Colin.
Yes, Brian, could you please take that?
Ordinance number 21-19, an ordinance of the City of Portage, Indiana, amending Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code entitled Zoning Map. Be it and is hereby ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana as follows. Section 1, this ordinance shall amend Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code and accompanying zoning map in the following manner. The zoning shall be changed from OC, office commercial, to R2, low density residential on the property commonly known as 6135 Loop Road and parcel 64-05-24-326-001, .000-016, and parcel 64-05-24-326-007.000-016, and the 33.222 acres south of Loop Road and north of Augusta Center subdivision, in which is legally described on Exhibit A, attached here too. C is also edited zoning map attached here as Exhibit B. Section 2, conditions precedent. 1, access to Augusta Boulevard limited to public right-of-ways. Driveways shall have no direct access to Augusta Boulevard. Number 2, a 20-foot landscape buffer shall be provided along the south and west property lines. 3, Augusta Boulevard shall provide the access for the properties to the west. Let the record reflect that this is read in its entirety.
Todd, are you doing that one too? Do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Good evening once again on behalf of the petitioner. Again, happy to answer any questions, but I think we'll just reserve the explanations at the next meeting. But I think you kind of know what's going on here. This is the Loop property on Loop Road. There's been some failures in the past, if you will, failure to launch, and so we think the ownership thinks that this rezoning would give the best opportunity for a sale.
Quick question. So this would be the whole parcel, right? We're not leaving any of it off as commercial?
We are not.
Okay.
We do anticipate, I mean, there's so many different zoning classifications, north, south, east, and west on this property.
Right.
You know, it almost could be a PUD, quite frankly. But my client just simply wants to divest themselves of ownership. Any developer would come along, they'd have that opportunity to do a gerrymandered zoning or a PUD or choose a different zoning classification. But it seems to fit best, in our opinion, with the requested zoning for the R2 for a sale. It seems to fit in the community both north and west.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. We'll see you again.
Right. Thank you.
We have Ordinance 2120, amending vacation time policy.
Yes, Ferdinand, could you take that, please?
Yes, Mr. President. Ordinance 21-20, an ordinance amending Section 62-29 entitled Vacations. Be it, and it hereby is ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana, hereafter the Council, as follows. Section 1, Ordinance Amendment. Subsection 1 of Section 62-29, currently written, shall hereby be amended to the following. Number 1, after 90 days of initial continuous employment with the city, newly hired employees shall receive 4 days of vacation. Employees shall receive 1 week of vacation after 1 year of service, 2 weeks of vacation after 2 years of service, 3 weeks of vacation after 4 years of service, 4 weeks of vacation after 8 years of service, 5 weeks of vacation after 13 years of service, and 6 weeks of vacation after 20 years of service. Section 2, conflicting ordinances. Any ordinance or provision of any ordinance of the City of Portage in conflict with this ordinance is hereby repealed. Section 3, severability. The invalidity of any section, clause, sentence, or provision of this ordinance shall not affect the validity of any other part of this ordinance which can be given effect without such invalid part or parts. Section 4, effective date. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect after its passage and approval by the mayor of the City of Portage and publication as required by law and after January 1st, 2022. Let the record show that this ordinance has been read in its entirety. Motion to adopt.
Actually, it's a first reading, but we'd like
There's a
to,
powerful crescendo at the end.
Thank you. You like that?
we'd like to leave this as a first reading. The ordinance committee will meet on this ordinance and the next ordinance at their next meeting, since they didn't have a meeting tonight. So this will come back to the council in November.
Okay. So you won't be hearing it on the 19th?
If the ordinance committee meets before the 19th to review it, we could, but if they don't meet before the 19th, then this will be on November's agenda.
Okay. Okay, we have ordinance 2121,
Yes.
an ordinance amending retiree health insurance.
Yes, Debbie, could you please take that?
Sure. An ordinance amending municipal code of the city of Portage regarding insurance. Be it, and it hereby is ordained by the Common Council of the city of Portage, Indiana, hereafter the council as follows. Whereas the council desires to amend its municipal code to include a section governing the provision of a reimbursement for insurance costs for retired employees not covered by a bargaining agreement. Section 1, that the Portage Municipal Code shall be amended to include the following. Chapter 62, Section 87, retirement reimbursement for insurance for non-bargaining employees. Letter A. An employee is considered retired under this section when the employee reaches age 55 and has 20 years of continuous full-time employment with the City of Portage upon departure from employment with the City of Portage. The employee will not be considered retired under this section if the employee is covered by a collective bargaining agreement with a recognized bargaining unit of the City of Portage at the time of departure, including spouses and dependents of employees covered by a collective bargaining agreement and entitled to retirement insurance reimbursement in a collective bargaining agreement. B, employees who retire from the City of Portage shall be entitled to a reimbursement for a portion of the cost of a health insurance plan approved by the city, including but not limited to 1, the health insurance marketplace, 2, a plan available through the retired employee's employment. C, for all retired employees as defined in subsection A of this section, the City of Portage shall reimburse 50% of the net cost of the insurance. The net cost shall mean the cost of the insurance less the subsidy amount which the retired employee is eligible to receive. D, when a retired employee reaches Medicare eligibility, the reimbursement provided in subsection C shall cease immediately. E, the reimbursement in subsection C shall only be for the portion of the cost of the retired employee. This reimbursement shall not include any costs associated with a spouse and/or qualified dependents. Let this reflect it's been read in its entirety.
And again, this will be at the ordinance committee's agenda and then come to the council potentially at our special meeting or the November regular meeting.
Okay. We have a public hearing, 2022 budget, notice to taxpayers, Form 3.
Yes, Brian, could you take that, please?
It's going to be a lot of numbers. Notice to taxpayers, you can find this document online at www.budgetnotices.in.gov because this will be hard to follow along. Complete details of the budget estimates by fund or department may be seen by visiting the office unit of government at 6070 Central Avenue. Notice is hereby given to taxpayers of Portage Civil City, Porter County, Indiana, that the proper officers of the Portage Civil City will conduct a public hearing on the year 2022 budget. Following this meeting, any 10 or more taxpayers may object to a budget, tax rate, or levy by filing an objection petition with the proper officers of the Portage Civil City, not more than 7 days after the hearing. The objection petition must identify the provisions of the budget, tax rate, tax levy to which taxpayers object. If a petition is filed, Portage Civil City shall not adopt the budget finding concerning the objections in the petition and testimony presented. Following the aforementioned hearing, the proper officers of Portage Civil City will meet to adopt the following budget. Budget hearing date Tuesday, October 5th, 2021. The adoption date will be Tuesday, October 19th, 2021, 6:30 p.m. here at the park. Estimated civil max levy, $19,661,936. Property tax cap credit estimate, $2,353,450. Fund name general. Budget estimate is $21,487,673. Maximum estimated refunds to be raised, $17 million. Excess levy appeal, 0. Current tax levy is $15,074,056. Percentage of levy is 12.78%. Debt service is $461,537. 461,537, 200,998, 641, and it's 54.55% of levy budget difference. Bond number 2 is $1,076,520. Maximum estimate refunds $1,076,520. Excess levy is 0. Current tax levy $1,130,921, or negative 4.81% of levy percentage difference. Fire pension $649,235,000. 0 estimated returns, 0 excess levy appeal, 0 current tax levy. Police pension $649,976. Budget estimate, and $0 maximum estimate refunds to be raised, 0 excess levy appeals, and 0 tax levy. Insurance is $272,650,000. Maximum estimated refunds $250,000. 0 excess levy appeals, $248,052 of current tax levy, 0.79% of levy percent difference. Local road and street, $657,479,000. 0 maximum estimated refunds, 0 excess levy appeals, 0 current tax levy. Motor vehicle highway, $3,518,935. $2,100,000 maximum refunds to be raised. $0 excess levy appeals. Current tax levy is $1,999,103 and 5.05% of the maximum percentage difference. Major moves, toll road counties, $140,000 budget estimate. $0 maximum estimated refunds to be raised. 0 excess levy appeals, 0 current tax levies. Park and recreation is $1,011,905 budget estimate. $1,011,000 maximum estimated refunds to be raised. $0 excess levy appeals. $998,736 current tax levy. Park non-reverting capital, $250,000 budget estimate. 0 maximum refunds to be raised. 0 excess levy appeals, 0 current tax levy. Building demolition, $100,000. Cumulative capital, $80,000. Cumulative capital development, $504,000, $264. $504,000, $264 for the current tax levy. Economic development income tax credit, $3,037,996. Sanitation is $2,956,975. Local law enforcement continuing education is $25,625,000. Park non-reverting operating, $359,078. Sidewalk waiver, $50,000. Wheel excise tax, $1,009,655. Port Authority, $22,525. Park recreation impact fee, $0. Marina operating, $408,325. Wheel tax is $1,025,000. Community crossings matching grant is $2 million. For a grand total of $41,755,329 for budget estimate. Maximum estimated refunds to be raised is $22,403,057 total, and the current tax levy is $20,253,774. Let the record reflect. But that's been read in its entirety.
Good job, Brian.
Good job.
Need some water.
At this time, the public is allowed to speak on this. I know it was a lot of numbers, but if you have any questions, we're also happy to provide you with copies of this. If you just want to leave your name, we can send that to you. But just
Dan, do we have to do an actual public hearing on this?
So the mayor has just opened the public hearing, and I think she's calling for the public to speak on this if they so desire.
Is it true that council members are not allowed to give any input until the public hearing is over with? Is that how that works?
So typically, I mean,
I just wanted to
I
ask.
can't really tell you what to do.
I just wanted to ask, like, could we put that on the TV up there, you know, like something?
So the public, typically what happens, it's a great question. Typically the public, if they have questions or any input, they come, they speak, and then you can address those concerns or questions afterward.
I don't have an HDMI to put it up there right now.
So we don't have an HDMI cord, so that's why we couldn't put it up on the TV. I just want to explain.
It's available online. The meeting is noticed. This is something we go through every year. We'll have an adoption meeting it's scheduled for October 19th at 6:30 p.m. We will also take public comment.
Well, this is the time.
Well,
This
right,
is-
but
yeah, this is
we'll
the
take
time
public
for
comment
public comment.
at the end of this meeting, at the end of next meeting, at the end of the November meeting.
So I call 3 times for public comment.
okay. Does anyone wish to speak on behalf of the budget? Does anyone wish to speak on behalf of the budget? Does anyone wish to speak on behalf of the budget? If not, the public hearing's closed. Okay. Is everybody okay? Okay.
Ferdinand, did you have any questions or?
No, that was just the.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it. Thank you.
Yeah, when we get our new council chambers in January, we will have equipment where you can see that on the screens. Hopefully that will happen in January. So now we have petitions, remonstrances, and public input. So if anybody from the public would like to speak, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 2 minutes to
Ooh, you
speak,
almost said
not
20
20
minutes.
minutes.
Oh,
I
boy.
almost said that. So please come forward if you want to present anything to the council. Beto, you're not coming up there.
Anybody?
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Ashley Dietz. I live at 2700 Walnut Street. I'm also a city employee. My concern today, and my coworker's concern today, is a month ago it was put in the newspaper that you guys, the council, agreed to give every city employee a $1,000 hardship check over the COVID stuff. It's been a month, nobody's heard anything. This is not the first financial thing we've been set back with and been waiting on. So is there anything you can tell us on what to expect for that?
Yes, Dan
Madam
can.
Chairman, if I can speak to that. So that grant, or that $1,000 that you're referencing, is a specific grant allowed under the Americans Rescue Plan, or Rescue Act plan. The guidelines on the use of that funds have been sort of a moving target a little bit, in the sense that the state is, as are the feds, releasing guidelines as we move along. What you're talking about the last meeting was a resolution appropriating the funds, which is one step that the council has to do that. But unfortunately, in my conversations with both the state and going to these legal webinars on the use and expenditures of the ARP funds, one thing that's become quite clear is that we may not actually spend the money until such time that the council adopts its ARP plan. So you may have read in the paper some of the other cities are starting to work their way toward that. I've seen not very many throughout the state, but I've seen 2 pretty far extremes. One of them down in Kokomo, where their plan was pretty much, we're not going to break the law. Seemed a little short-sighted to me. In my conversations with the state, I'm not even sure that plan will pass muster. because it's not really a plan. But we've seen some things maybe from Hammond and Mayor Prince from Gary. That's a pretty good example of the plans that those particular municipalities are coming up with. And you'll see some pretty grandiose or pretty big projects. Now they have money, been given more money to spend in the city, but in any case, that's the kind of plan that this municipality has to pass. We can't spend that money until the plan is adopted. If we do, we would have to pay it back. So that's been the delay. There's no indication, certainly amongst the council, that they won't go forward with the appropriation or the appropriation they made. But at my behesting and my advice, I've asked them to hold off, and I've asked the clerk to hold off on expending the money until such time that the plan is adopted. The mayor can sort of speak if she wishes to, but the mayor is conducting some committee meetings, myself being a part of those, to get some ideas as to the plan. She's also reached out to the various council members to try to get some input from each council member as to suggestions that they might have in their the respective districts. This plan is a big opportunity for the city of Portage. And candidly, in listening to the mayor, I believe that she believes that the city of Portage deserves better than a plan that says we're not going to break the law. That's kind of assumed. So working toward that end, and as soon as the plan is adopted, then those appropriate funds and others can start to be spent. And so that's the delay.
Dan, quickly on the timeline.
Yeah.
So the $1,000 was on the resolution at the September 7th meeting. The State Board of Accounts released the guidelines on having to have a plan on September 15th, after we had already moved forward on it.
Okay.
So that came after we had done the resolution.
It may not even be a sure deal then.
No, that is not what we're saying at all.
Let me take a shot back at this. So they passed the resolution appropriating the funds, meaning these are some of the things that they have committed to spending the funds on. The $1,000 being one of them, the Lexipol contract being another, server. Those things are going to happen. It's just that we can't put the cart before the horse. So we need to get the plan adopted, and then the expenditures can come out.
My other question about it is this. I have been hearing through the grapevine that in the paper it said that every city employee would receive the $1,000 COVID check. But my understanding I'm hearing is that now you guys want to assess like who was really essential and who was not. Can you clarify that?
You shouldn't believe everything you read in the paper.
Right, that's why I'm here.
Yeah, they get things wrong.
Okay, so we are going to pick and choose who's essential, or is every employee going to get?
The resolution denotes every full-time employee will receive $1,000.
Okay, well that's clear then, because that's been a pretty difficult challenge. We've had a lot of issues with finances in the city, and
Yep.
I just want to know like what to expect, because.
And just to clear it up, because I know we're being live streamed, the $1,000 does not go to the city council or the mayor or the clerk treasurer. We don't get a raise out of this. So despite what you read in the paper gets it wrong.
And now, long shot, like you guys got to put this deal in this plan and it has to be approved, all those things. What's the time frame here? Are we looking 3 months? Are we looking 2 months? Is this going to be the first of the year? I mean, like, it hit the paper so fast. We've
Mayor,
got
do you
no
want to
game
address
plan.
that? I know we talked about a timeline, so.
We are meeting, and we met the other day for 3 hours. It's a big ordeal of what we're gonna spend this money on. We're not like Gary, that we didn't get 90 million. Hammond got about 55 million. We got 8.3 over 2 years. So the first round was what, Nina? 4.0. So we can only get a plan for what we're getting. And we're trying to be looking at every single thing that would benefit the citizens of this city. It's not anything for us personally. We're trying to get opinions from citizens. We're trying to get opinions from the city council. We want everybody to weigh in on what do you see that would be something that would benefit our citizens. We're not gonna rush out there and spend money and then wish we had done something else. So we're looking at all kinds of things that would benefit our city, because it's not our money here. It's everybody in our city.
Right.
So we want it to be something for everybody, but we also have to stick to the guidelines. And I mean, I think it's very frustrating for us. I talked to the congressman the other day. I said, quit changing that plan. because that happened with the first monies that we got. Halfway through, they changed all the rules. So we're at the mercy of who set the guidelines, and they keep changing. So we're trying to get a plan together. The council has to vote on it. It will be published. Now, Mayor Prince does have a plan, but his council did not approve it. So it has to be approved by this council once we put that plan together. And granted, once we put the plan together, it can be tweaked. I mean, we have till 2024 to spend the money. But we want to get it right first. We don't want to be spending the money and wish that we had gotten something else. We have great needs in our city, and it's really not a lot of money. It's a one-shot deal. We are never going to get this money again, so we need to be smart about how we spend it.
And just speaking from the committee, I know Councilperson Pogorski and the mayor and city attorney and the clerk treasurer in this committee, we want to bring a plan as soon as we possibly can. We just got the template from the state a week ago. So we have the template, we're putting it together. It's very detailed. It requires a lot of inputs from our end. We're not going to be super descriptive. We're going to be broader, but we have to bring that plan to the council. We have every intention to do that in the next, I would say, meeting or two. Don't want to commit to that. We never know what can happen, but it's going to happen. We passed the resolution. So.
I mean, my biggest concern was to make sure that all city employees were essential, because I kind of thought that was the deal anyways. So you guys clarified that, so thank you.
Don't believe everything you read on the internet. Thanks, Ashley. Are there any other remonstrances or public input? If not, I will ask for an adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.